It's time to pick a side. The border war is on the air with BG and TanMan.
Episode 64 is in the books. We are on to episode 65. Welcome in to another edition of The Border War. I'm the TanMan. I'm joined in studio by my co-host, the esteemed BG.
Hello.
I want to welcome you in. Thank you for joining us. However you might be listening, what is it Colin Cowherd does? Or however you may be listening, thanks for making us part of your day. Spreaker, TuneIn, Spotify,
yeah.
Apple Podcast. We are everywhere. Thank you for joining us. This is episode 65. We're going to talk about some NFL action. BG, where should we start at?
Well, I liked how we did it last week. Just sort of run through the divisions real quick. The Dolphins sitting at 3-0 in the AFC East. I told you Ryan Tannehill was the real deal. Nobody wanted to believe it.
If you had Miami at 3-0 and the Patriots at 1-2,
everybody
go buy a lottery ticket right now. Pause the show. Buy a lottery ticket and come back and listen later.
Neither one of us thought the Patriots would lose 2 games in a row. They've looked really average for 2 weeks in a row. The Chiefs, obviously, big surprise, 3-0 and dominant in the AFC West. Broncos look good. Chargers don't look nearly as good as I thought they would. The Raiders look like a dysfunctional nightmare.
This is 2 years. I'm never picking the Oakland Raiders for anything ever again.
Well, you only be able to pick the Oakland Raiders for one more year, then they'll be the Las Vegas Raiders.
I'm never picking the Las Vegas Raiders ever.
Bengals and Ravens tied at 2-1 in the AFC North. I think this division's a little too early to know much about it. I still think the Browns end up in last place. I do not think the Steelers stay in last place. We'll see. AFC South, we've got the Titans and the Jaguars both at 2-1. The big surprise here, the Houston Texans 0-3. They look terrible on offense, on defense, special teams. Everything about this team looks awful.
I get that the Titans are 2-1, Jaguars are 2-1. Titans just beat the Jaguars.
Right.
To me, this division still feels like this is going to be Jaguars. I'm not really that concerned with anybody in that division.
I'm going to be curious to see over time what the Colts are able to do. They're the third place team right now. They feel like they might end up as the third place team, but I'm curious to see. I do think they're a better team than Tennessee, especially if Mariota continues to have injury problems just over and over and over. We'll see if the Colts can grab a wild card spot.
If I'm the Colts, I go and pull the trigger for Le'Veon Bell today.
Oh, absolutely.
Make that trade today.
Absolutely. Into the NFC. In the East, the Eagles and the Redskins both sitting at 2-1. The Giants finally get a win. We're obviously going to talk about this, man. You guys don't look good right now. Don't look good. I still think the Redskins might be a little bit of a paper tiger. We'll talk about that in a second, too. I'm still not sold. Still not sold. You sent me this question today in the NFC West. We'll talk about this. Is it the Rams versus everybody else in the league?
The Rams versus everybody.
The Cardinals at 0-3 look completely dysfunctional. Any chances the 49ers had just got blown up with Jimmy Garoppolo's knee. The guy they're starting at quarterback, I've never even heard of him. I have no idea who he is.
C.J. Beathard, I think he played some last year.
Into the North, the surprising Bears at 2-1, the Packers at 1-1, along with the Vikings. Will the real Kirk Cousins please stand up? And you got to see him this week.
That was a nightmare.
Well,
I texted my dad at one point during that ball game. I said, "Man, you guys have made our Week 1 offensive performance at Carolina look like the greatest show on turf." Man, at one point they had 3 turnovers and 3 first downs with a minute to go in the third quarter.
I was very upset because the Vikings kicker is indeed my fantasy starter, which explains partially my very, very low point totals for the week. But
what did I call it? The heavyweight pillow fight?
Heavyweight pillow fight. I was so mad when you sent that text that I didn't respond. And so into the South, we have the Buccaneers, the Saints, and the Panthers all at 2-1. The surprisingly difficult Falcons, who we both think is the best team in this division. The Buccaneers balloon's going to popped a little bit last night. And we'll get in and talk about the Panthers look good. Panthers look good.
Did the balloon pop last night, second half?
He did throw for
The
400
second half,
and something yards.
They hold
yeah.
Pittsburgh scoreless.
I just don't feel like it's sustainable. I don't feel like it's sustainable. So that's what we've got is the league overall. So we have, let's see, the Cardinals, the Texans, and the Raiders, your winless teams. You know, with the Dolphins, the Chiefs, the Rams, and that's it as your undefeated team so far. So here's a question for you, man. Of the teams that have sort of surprised us so far, so who are some of the surprising teams? The Buccaneers.
I'm looking at the Bucks.
The Bears.
That's
nobody in the West is that surprising in a good way. Can we say the Redskins that's a little bit surprising, considering that they've played the Packers already? Maybe.
Okay.
Who out of the NFC? I mean, which of the teams that have played well so far out of the NFC do you think have a chance to actually kind of hang around and be there? When I look at this, I look at how you win games.
I think it's the Chicago Bears.
Really?
I think it's the Bears.
That defense.
It's the defense. I'm looking at this division. Aaron Rodgers is banged up. They're talking about a lot of the I call them talking heads are have made the case that they should shut Aaron Rodgers down for a month. That they should shut him down and let him get fully healthy and come back and make a stretch run. Your boy Kirk Cousins has showed after last week what Minnesota did. Anything is possible with that offense. I think the Chicago Bears with that defense in that division, I think the Bears are going to hang around. I'm not saying they're going to win it.
Who do you think has the number one ranked defense in the league right now?
The number one defense in the league?
It's going to catch you off guard.
Well, I was going to say the Rams, but if it's going to catch me off guard, it's
the
not.
Baltimore Ravens.
Okay.
Guess who has the number 2 ranked defense in the league?
Is it another surprise team?
Yes. Not if you've watched them, but you probably haven't.
Washington Redskins?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Bears not in the top 5.
Bears
not in the top 5 in yards allowed per game. No,
I'm
sorry, they are number 5. They are number 5 after the Cowboys, which shows you what a waste of potential that offense is.
As I was saying, but we've got our defense is okay.
They didn't score many fantasy points this week. We'll talk about that off the air.
But no, I think it's the Bears. I think the trade for Khalil Mack might go down as one of the worst trades ever made by
legendary.
someone.
Legendary already. It's like Herschel Walker.
I don't think anybody's going to run away with this division.
And the thing is, this offense feels fun, man. Creative, fun. Like I think Trubisky's going to make strides this year. I can see that. All right. In the AFC, I don't know. Do we know? Like you said, are the Titans a surprise team at 2-1? They don't feel like. I mean, it's just too early. They're not that good.
I think if I'm looking for a surprise team in the AFC,
well, the Dolphins at 3-0. That's a surprise.
Well, the Dolphins at 3-0, but somebody that is going to hang out. This is going to get you. I think it's the Cleveland Browns.
Okay, that definitely got me.
I think the Cleveland Browns are, now that they've made the switch to Baker Mayfield.
With the Neapolitan record, a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of strawberry, a little bit of vanilla, one.
I think the Browns are gonna hover somewhere around 500. Maybe not pushing for a playoff push, but they're gonna hang around. They're gonna make life difficult on some teams. Mayfield's going to have he's going to have some downs, but his ups are going to be really good. And I think the Browns are going to hang around for a little while. They're not going to go away, and they're not going to go 3-13 or whatever some folks are saying.
And obviously, I think the Chiefs are an easy answer here. Nobody thought they were going to be 3-0, but I'm going to go with the Ravens. I think the Ravens, they have enough talent on offense right now. And again, they have the number 1 defense in the NFL.
Well, this is the first time, we talked about it before the season started. This is the first time that Baltimore, that I can remember, that Baltimore has gone out and actually made a push to bring Joe Flacco some weapons.
And the guys that cover Flacco will tell you this is the first time he's been healthy in 4 years. A guy his size, those injuries wear on you when they start.
Well, here you go. The knock on the Ravens has always been the offense, right?
Sure.
The Kansas City Chiefs have scored 118 points. Second in total points scored is the Baltimore Ravens at 97, and they've got the highest point differential in the AFC. They're at plus 46 right now.
So number 1 defense in the league, number 2 offense in the league, and I'm making the argument they stick around. That doesn't seem to be a big stretch. The thing about the Chiefs is, and I mean, it's been talked about all week. I mean, obviously, Mahomes is just lights out, and the way he's doing it doesn't feel fluky. But here's the thing: they're going to have that many touchdowns because their defense can't stop anybody. Their defense ranked 32nd in the NFL right now.
They've already given up 92 points.
Bad weather in late December, early January. That doesn't feel like a winning formula.
They're hitting a lot of big plays. Man.
They are.
They're hitting a lot of big plays.
Does that continue? We'll see. I mean, now, don't get me wrong. I think Pat Mahomes is the real deal. I mean, again, he's not doing this through some kind of gimmicky kind of offense. This cat is standing in the pocket and dialing ropes to people. I mean, like he's sort of like a major league pitcher standing out there, and he just seems so composed. And no, I don't suspect he continues to perform at this level the entire season, but I mean, he could drop off considerably and they'd still be winning football games. But that defense has got to get a little better, right? I mean, you got to do something.
They better.
You can't. I hope we're not in an NFL where a team can go deep in the playoffs with the worst defense in football. That's not an NFL I want to watch. I really don't.
Well, if you're a fan of any NFC teams like you and I both are, I'm not sure that you can't turn the TV off of NFC football right now, because I think that the LA Rams, you mentioned it, you asked it at the top of the show.
My Super Bowl winner pick.
Is it the Rams versus everybody in the NFC? And I'm going to go ahead and emphatically tell you, yes. The NFC, I have championed all along, with some Cowboy buddies, not to throw in the towel. There's a lot of football left. And then I got to thinking about it. No, I think you can pretty much throw in the towel. The Rams now I get that they haven't played the greatest of competitions the first couple weeks. They have looked outstanding on offense. They have looked outstanding on defense. They are plus 66 in the scoring column. The next best team in that ranking is you guys, Redskins. You're at plus 20. No one is even coming close to these guys right now.
Oh, right. No.
Now, they're a little banged up in the secondary, so I am eager to see. I think they've got Minnesota on Thursday night.
And let's be honest, they're going to go undefeated in that division. That division's
nobody in that division should beat them. But like I said, Peters is out. Aqib Talib is out. So they've got some holes in the secondary now. Can Minnesota take advantage of them Thursday night? We'll see.
Well, that's a fun game right there. Now that's a high interest game.
If they show up anything like they showed up Sunday, then
you got to think Minnesota bounces back to a degree. That's always been the knock on Cousins for me, though, is his insane inconsistency. I mean, and like I said last week, everybody's tooting his horn. I'm like, just wait, he will show back up. And
the Rams, you go, well, can they do it they're not going to play cold weather playoff games.
No, they're not, because they're going to be the number one seed.
They're going to be the number one seed. All those games are going to be at home in the Coliseum. So the NFC, I think you can.
Let me ask you one question. We only saw Carson Wentz for 1 week. Okay, I think it's clear to say he wasn't quite 100%.
Right.
Probably came back a little earlier than he should have in a perfect world. If the Eagles get back to the level they were playing last year, I mean, obviously they're probably still going to have to go out to L.A. to beat them. Like you said, I mean, I think even a 1-game lead right now, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it is just 2-1 and 3-0 right now. But when you look at the Eagles division, right, I mean, you don't feel good about them going 6-0.
Because like I said, we'll get into how terrible we are.
But I do feel
shortly, but I think the Redskins are going to make life tough on Philadelphia in that division.
And I do think that that's not the case in Los Angeles. So, but is there a chance that Carson Wentz getting back to where he was last year, if that happens, can the Eagles cause the Rams problem? Because that's really the only. I mean, as good as our start has been in the 2 games we won, I think it's really the Eagles and the Rams, if it's even that.
Well, if Carson Wentz gets back to that MVP level this year, then he could. They could, but I mean, I think you hit it to start the year. I think the Rams are going to come out of the NFC, because I haven't seen. I haven't seen a team in the NFC as complete as they are.
The additions they made to their defense this year really
the Falcons
seemed
and
to
the
put them over the
Saints
top.
can outscore teams. You never count out the Packers with Aaron Rodgers, but I don't see another team nearly as complete as them anywhere in the NFC. Like I can't point to what I think is what would be their Achilles heel or this glaring weakness they have.
The attitude they start games with, man, they jump on people.
Yes,
they come out ready to play. They come out ready to play. And I love their uniforms. I wish they would get rid of the gold though. Just go blue and white.
Just go blue. That's my only thing. That's my only.
I tell you,
on the patch, the Rams' horns are gold, but on the helmet it's white.
That's stupid. I tell you what's worse though, the Bucks holding on to that creamsicle orange. I mean, that's over with, man. That doesn't go with the brown and the red. Just stop.
No, they just need to go back to the creamsicle orange.
You just want to laugh at them.
No,
you do not like those uniforms.
I like the version of what they have now before they switched it, before they updated
gotten too
it.
busy.
Well, yeah, but before the logo takes up the whole side of the helmet.
Yeah, it's too big.
When they first went to it, it was good, but
how do you like the Titans dark helmets? Is that
I like the helmets. I don't like the jerseys.
I don't like their logo.
Yeah,
I've never liked their logo. Their logo looks like back in the old PlayStation 2 days when you could pick the generic logos, like just 3 stars and a sword or whatever. The Titans logo looks like one of those logos. It just looks like we need something on the helmet. What do we? Let's do a sword and a T.
That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, it's pretty much what it is.
The story around the league has, of course, been the roughing the passer, the penalties.
Oh, Lord.
We don't have a lot of time because that has been debated back and forth, but there were a couple of them in you guys' game on Sunday.
The one that was getting all the attention until last night.
Yeah, but you guys, man, we just hit it. You guys, another big win. Packers come to town once again, and
here's
nothing for the mighty Redskins.
Here's the asterisk beside this. Unlike the last time we beat Green Bay, I think that was a Sunday night game 2 seasons ago. Aaron Rodgers was not Aaron Rodgers in this game, man. Like he looked hobbled. He looked gimpy. There were a couple of sacks he took in that game he didn't even try to run away from. That's not Aaron Rodgers. So, yeah, I'm glad we won. Don't get me wrong. But I'm still not 100% sold. But what I do love is that all this pressure that we're getting and the sacks we're getting coming from our front four. Mm-hmm. And our draft picks paying off in a big way. Mm-hmm. Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, all with big days, and there were a lot more pressures than there were sacks. Aaron Rodgers was never comfortable in that pocket the entire game, and we didn't have to use Ryan Kerrigan to do it.
Look, you guys got 4 sacks. You just mentioned Allen, Payne, Idunst. They all get in there. I thought you did a really good job at putting the pressure on Rodgers because all day long, even on a rainy day, they tried to. He just could not get anything downfield. He could not push the ball downfield.
I think a lot of it is, it's not his plant leg that's hurt, but I do think Aaron Rodgers is about 70% right now. He just doesn't look like himself, but he's no spring chicken. It's look at the way Tom Brady looks right now. I said before the season started that this might be the year the Patriots came back down to earth. But
it feels like Aaron Rodgers is always at 70%, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. As a Cowboy fan, he has burnt us so many times.
Oh, yeah.
It's just to me, I feel like Aaron Rodgers is like a superhuman cyborg that will always bounce back.
There was a time when Joe Montana was a superhuman cyborg. It ends for everybody, man.
But you guys, your defense,
the Redskins, I think it's fair to say we have to run the football, though. When we run the football well, we have a great chance to beat anybody in the league. When we can't run the football well, like I said last week, Alex Smith is a great quarterback. He was a better quarterback to have in that game than Cousins was because the one thing Smith won't do is fumble on a sack. Now, he did throw a pick, but I'm pretty sure the pick was on the receiver. The guy ran the wrong route. But you don't have to worry about him blowing a game, but he's not going to go out there and beat somebody all by himself either. So we need Peterson and Rob Kelly and Chris Thompson to step up and run the football well. And we certainly did in this game.
I was going to say, Peterson, 19 carries for $120.
2 touchdowns.
I was going to say, 35 rushing attempts, only 20 passing attempts. Right, again, we talked about it with Jake Bentley, right in that sweet spot. But to me, the story of you guys' team is defense. And your defense is really, really good. You held Green Bay, even on, like I said, on a rainy day. The weather's not great. But you guys are giving up only about 278 yards a game, under 15 points a game. Mm-hmm. Hats off, man.
3 games.
It's 3 games. It's still early.
And again, the Arizona
for everybody
game.
But the Dallas Cowboys. There's a lot of football left to play. But, the hats off to you, man. You guys are playing great. Let's
move on to Dallas, because to me it's a little more of an interesting topic. I still think the jury's out on the Redskins. I hope you're right. The Cowboys, how did this happen? How did we get to this point in 2 years? I guess the honest question for you right now is Dak a bad quarterback?
Okay, you ready for the rant? Because I've got one.
I actually need to go to the bathroom, so I'll just step out of the room. I'll be back in 5 minutes.
You asked how we got here, and to me the answer is because
you were on the play calling
simple
thing last week.
Listen, I look around the league. I'm looking at Seattle when they had Russell Wilson on the come up on the cheap. They made their run. I'm looking at the Rams. They're making their run with Goff on the cheap. The Eagles making their run with Carson Wentz on the cheap. We have failed Dak Prescott the same way we failed Tony Romo all those years. Okay. We have not surrounded him with the pieces necessary. We have the holy grail in football, which is a quarterback who is making nothing by NFL standards.
Right.
The holy grail fell into our lap.
The sweet spot.
And we have done nothing with it. And you can blame it on the lack of playmakers at wide receiver. My thing is, all we heard all summer was this was going to be a, quote, Dak-friendly offense.
Right.
I guess that means just stick a pacifier in his mouth.
We're trying to get to 180 yards passing.
Baby him around because they hire a new wide receivers coach who's supposed to clean up technique and precise route running and all these key words that you hear these NFL guys throw around. We don't have a wide receiver in the top 40 in the league. I mean,
wow.
And no one is in the top 40.
Well, I guess that's not surprising, and I'm not trying to be funny, but you're literally throwing for 180 yards a game.
Look, we are 3 for 13 on third down. We are 8 for 34 on third down for the year. You can make the argument, well, the season's early. It's early on. There's a lot of fun. All of these numbers that get thrown out when you talk about the Cowboys, they all go back to about the last 11 games, which is, I guess, without looking it up, my guess is somewhere between
November.
Well, I was going to say somewhere about the Ezekiel Elliott suspension on would be somewhere, would be about 11 games. So basically, from the time Ezekiel Elliott went out and came back, the offense has been absolutely atrocious. And there were times before Elliott went on suspension that the offense was atrocious.
All right, help me remember 2 seasons ago, right? Okay, so what did you guys finish 2 seasons ago? 11 and 5?
13 and 3.
13 and 3.
We were the number 1 seed in the playoffs.
All right, so Dez was never a big part of the offense with Dak. What was different that year? Who was getting the football that's not getting it now? What looked different as a Cowboys fan?
I mean, the easy answer is Dez Bryant and Jason Witten.
But we've talked now. I think Witten's huge.
And
God bless him. You know what? I'm ready to put a helmet back on him because he needs to be quiet. He needs to stop. I mean, he seems like the nicest guy on earth, but Lord, that is not the job for him. I think having him sit down in that zone is really missed. Jason Witten could get open anywhere, anytime. But you and I have talked about this on the air. Dez was never big numbers for Dak.
They never got on the same page. But when was the last time Witten had a really monster season?
Yeah.
I mean, it's been... Yeah, I love Witten.
But is it little things like just having him on the field, like maybe him taking the middle of the field out of play? I mean, like just...
But again, if you say all summer long, we're going to base this offense around Dak Prescott, we're going to tailor it to what he does best, and they've done nothing.
Yeah.
They have done nothing. Scott Linehan and Jason Garrett, I want to ask you, what's the point as a fan when you can just go, I'm just ready for us to lose every ball game we play?
Like what loss in the season?
Like at what point is that acceptable? Because I'm pretty close to that now.
Because
what I don't want to happen is for us to
finish at 7-9,
to get to 7-9 and have a little turnaround and go, all right, well, next year. No, I don't want this team next year, man.
Right.
Jason Garrett and Scott Linehan have got to go. Period. Point blank. End of discussion. They have got to go.
And that is the consensus among most Cowboys fans. I mean, the guys I talk to, when I can stomach talking to them. Look,
we're unwatchable, man. We are. Our offense is absolutely unwatchable.
The Dallas-Seattle game was one of the more boring, awful. It reminds me of the South Carolina-Kentucky game from 2 seasons ago when neither team could even just complete a pass. It was like the final score was 12-15.
Look,
it was that kind of awful football.
I don't mind a defensive showdown. I don't mind a 13-10 game. If you're just grinding things and it's just a battle.
Oh yeah,
this isn't a battle.
No,
this is just terrible.
Yeah,
this is incompetence.
There's
there's no creativity when they get to third down. There's no go-to play on the sheet where they feel comfortable running and they can pick up the first down. There's just nothing. The offense is nothing.
Who do you guys have this week?
Lions. The Lions come to town this week. It's on the picks list.
You're probably going to win that game, man.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
That's what I'm saying. Like y'all are going to just keep limping along and
I'm seriously ready to just go. You know what? Just go 1-15, man. If you're gonna just go out in a blaze of glory, we're not. I'm just.
You're not happy.
I'm not happy. And I don't usually get this worked up.
No, you don't. But I know what you're saying, because sometimes you feel like you get tired of hearing that these guys know more about football than you, and I'm like, I'm not sure if they do. I do watch a lot of football and think about it quite a bit. There's times when I'm talking to people about other things, I'm actually thinking about football.
The whole Jason Garrett experience, the experiment here, this is just par for the course, man. We have a good year, then we're down, and then he saves his job with a 12-4 year, like he did a couple, and then they go down again.
But isn't that the story of every team in this division? We've talked about this, man. What did I think?
Nobody saves a job like Jason Garrett saved.
When everybody in the world thought the Redskins were going to finish last in this division in our NFL preview, and I told you it wouldn't be surprising to me if the Redskins won this division, you were like, me either. Because that's what happens in the NFC East.
But nobody seems to rally around and save his job like Garrett, and I don't get it. I'm frustrated with it. I've had enough. Either fire that man or start looking for some new team. That's all I can say.
How do you feel about talking about the Panthers? Would that cheer you up?
Not really, but they're in the box, so let's get to them.
We both thought the Bengals would beat them, I think, or at least keep it really, really close. Look, I thought the Panthers looked pretty impressive. Let me just, since you probably need to breathe after that thing you just did.
Anger.
Let me tell you who I thought the star of this game was. The savior of the Dallas Cowboys in the 1990s, according to everybody who mattered, Norv Turner. I thought Norv Turner shone like a star in this game. He had Cam doing creative things with the football, and I like that when they get down to the goal line, man, Norv doesn't even pretend Cam can throw the football anymore. We're going to have that big dude run the football into the end zone. And that is when Cam is at his best, right? Mm-hmm. He does a little pump fake. He is deceptively fast. When he's running to the angle, running to the corner, linebackers and stuff in the league cannot keep up with Cam. I think his steps are so big because he's so tall that it looks like he's moving at normal speed, but inside the 15-yard line, Cam Newton is about unstoppable. If you're going to beat them, you have to keep them out of the red zone. The defense played well. Dalton had a good game. Other than those 4 picks,
it sticks out. It
does kind of stick out.
We've talked about Christian McCaffrey on our show several times, and you've questioned whether or not he can be an every down run between the tackles. They said before the year we're going to get him 30 touches a game or whatever the absurd number was.
At 195 pounds.
The first 2 games, he was more of a receiver.
Yeah.
And Norv Turner again, you just hit it. Called a great game. I don't think Cincinnati was ready for this. McCaffrey carried the ball 28 times, and for a guy who's never had more than, 80 yards a game?
Yeah. Hell, he went off.
184
went off
on Sunday. You nailed it, man. North Turner hit it out of the park this week, because I just said I don't think Cincinnati had a plan for seeing Christian McCaffrey run the ball 28 times.
And you talk to Troy Aikman, you talk to Emmitt Smith, you talk to Michael Irvin, you talk to Jimmy Johnson, any of those guys will tell you that as good as all those guys were, that franchise was not ever going to win a Super Bowl with that much talent until North Turner got to Dallas and turned everything around. And I think in the right situation, he's that good of a play caller. That stuff doesn't go into a slump. And like I said, man, I think he won this game. And you're right. Cincinnati's defense is a nasty bunch of guys, man. They did not look ready for the wrinkles getting thrown at them. And like I said, down in the red zone, it looked like checkers versus chess, man. Cam was just walking into the end zone. Yep. I thought it was an impressive win.
No, it was
definitely
a good win. A nice day by the Tar Heel. Gio Bernard, 5 yards a carry, I think, is what he averaged, somewhere in that ballpark.
Definitely an underrated running back. He's one of those guys that I think the Bengals are just never anybody's sexy pick. I thought they were going to finish last in the division. I'm kind of thinking back as to why I thought that, and I think it mostly is because somebody has to finish last in that division. We'll see. But I still feel like the NFC South is just a big fat mystery. You got 3 teams at 2-1. I don't know what to say about the Saints. Breeze looks like Breeze, but the defense is back and forth. Tampa Bay, we don't even know who's going to be playing quarterback in 2 weeks. And then the Falcons at 1-2 in last place, and I still think they're the most formidable team in the division.
They're the best team in the division.
Yeah, it's a real odd situation, and part of it is we just haven't had enough football for it to get ironed out yet. But look, I'll give the Panthers credit. I rail on them a lot, mostly on Cam. I've never taken anything away from their defense or the running game. And all I've ever said about McCaffrey is I think he's just too small to take 30 hits a football game, and that still could be true.
I disagree. I think if they wanted to do that every week, I think he would be more than up for the challenge.
But I'll tell you this.
He did it at Stanford. He had almost 5,000 yards rushing at Stanford.
What I love about what North Turner is doing right now is he's being honest with his play calling about who Cam Newton is, and that is a running quarterback. He can throw the ball from time to time, and he can fake you out with a good play action or a pump fake. But when he's on the ground and he's moving up and down like toward the end zone, there's nobody in the league that can stop him. Nobody.
No. Does he get those calls? Will we see one of the roughing the passer penalties versus Cam?
Ooh, that's probably a betting topic in Vegas right now. I'm going to go with yes. I think these guys. Did you watch the game last night?
A little bit.
Did you see the play where Gerald McCoy literally runs into the quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger, who is only 10 pounds lighter than he is, with his hands in the air going, sorry, Ben, sorry, Ben, sorry, Ben. Nobody falls on the ground, 15-yard penalty. 15-yard penalty. Or the hand to the helmet.
The worst one was my man down in Miami. He's purposefully trying to avoid falling on top of Derek Carr. His right foot gets stuck in the ground.
And he pitches forward.
He tears his ACL.
Oh, right.
Trying to avoid a penalty. The man's season is over.
It's crazy.
It's absurd. So, I would love to know as much criticizing the refs as Cam has done over the years about not getting the same calls as other guys. When's he gonna get one of these? Roughing the passer calls.
We talked about the Redskins. After the game, the first question somebody asked Alex Smith was, "Do you think Clay Matthews roughed you?" And he was like, "Of course not."
Well, and then
it was a clean tackle, man. It was
Alex Smith has said it.
He basically came out and said, "That's how I want to be tackled."
Aaron Rodgers said it a couple weeks ago with one of his. We were talking
about Clay Matthews, but then he had got one call on him and said,
he was like, "Man, that's a good hit."
It's football.
It's football. They're hitting me right in the middle,
really,
right in the sweet spot. And
Mike Golick keeps asking in the morning. Everybody's asking, what do you think they can do? It's not the Matrix. They can't stop in midair and twist their body. What are we talking about?
The one guy did, and he tore his knee up.
And I'm sorry, but last night I start to hear it in the ref's voice. He starts calling it faster and faster. You can tell he's embarrassed that he has to call it. But he has a job. So we're not blaming the refs here. They're doing what they're told to do. But literally he was so relieved the one they picked up, there is no flag for roughing the passer. He was so excited to get to say that.
Is it going to be like the catch rule was last year, that by the end of the year, we know what the rule is, we know the spirit of the rule and what it says, but we're just going to call it a different way?
Well, I'll tell you, one wonders when this becomes a Saturday Night Live skit. The meme, I'm sure you've already seen it, where the little girl in the Packers jersey is the proper way to sack a quarterback, and her dad walks up to her, picks her up, and lays her gently onto the ground, and then puts a flower on her. That's the way we need to sack the quarterback. But let's be honest, Richard Sherman's on to what this is, man. This is about protecting quarterbacks. This is about protecting shoulder bones, collarbones, and money. Because when Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, when Andrew Luck's out, people don't buy tickets. People don't go to those games. People don't watch those games on TV. Now, offensive and defensive linemen are still getting rolled up in the open field. Guys are hitting them in the sides of their knees to take them out, and nobody's calling that stuff, man. It is a butcher shop out there. But quarterbacks, yeah.
Right. You saw Vance McDonald last night in his post game. He point blank said, I tried to hit him right in the temple and take him out.
I tried to destroy him.
We're just going to pretend he didn't say that, I guess.
Right.
Picks list. NFL games are left. We just did the college ones in episode 64. We're on to episode 65, so we're going to hit the NFL ones. First up, we saw them last night, the Bucs. Is this going to be Jameis Winston's debut? I tend to think not. At least not this week. Bucs at the Bears. The Bears are -2 in this one. Give me the Bears, man.
I'm going to take the Bears too.
I just said at the top of the show, the Bears were my pick to stick around the NFC for a little while.
That's turning into a pretty tough place to go play a football game too. How hungry is Chicago for a good offense and a good football team, man?
Oh, and saying that's the thing. Trubisky, he doesn't have to do what Pat Mahomes is doing. Just be okay. With that defense, just be okay.
Look at how legendary Jim McMahon is up there. Go look at Jim McMahon's stats. Mm-hmm. He only played about 8 games the year they won the Super Bowl. Steve Fuller from Clemson played most of those games. Well, he didn't even get to be in the Super Bowl shuffle.
Well, they went to a Super Bowl with Rex Grossman, just being all right most weeks.
Yeah. So if he can be a little bit better than that, there'll be a statue of him in front of Soldier Field in 10 years.
Lions at the Cowboys. The Cowboys minus. I don't understand this one somehow. The Cowboys are -3 points. Somebody knows something I don't know, which is highly unlikely.
3 points for being home. That's all that is.
Yeah, which is highly unlikely. The Lions. Give me the Lions. I don't care if it was 100,000 points. Give me the Lions. I'm not convinced the Dallas Cowboys can beat anybody right now.
I'm going to take the Cowboys.
Any reason why? Or
I don't think Detroit's a very good team. I think their offense looks real sporadic, and I think Dallas comes back.
Maybe a hangover from beating New England the week before.
I think Dallas comes back and plays a good enough game to win at home.
Dolphins at the
And I think it would be hilarious if you guys won. I want you guys to finish 8-8 so bad that I can taste it.
Look, NBA training camp.
I want you to be watching the draft in April and have to wait like the Redskins do every year for pick 15. That's what I want.
And I'm sure it'll be by Jason Garrett and Scott Linehan.
They'll actually come out and make the announcement. They'll be the celebrity picker.
I have to buy new TVs. I'll throw a shoe through mine. Dolphins at the Patriots. This one has gone from Patriots -9 to -7.5 the last day or so. So that's where it's at. 7.5 for the Patriots. Are you giving it up or are you taking it? Miami's 3-0.
This feels like trash, man. I think the Patriots win this game. The question is by how much.
I say, are you giving 7.5?
Yes. I'm going to go with the Fighting Ryan Tannehills.
So you're taking the Dolphins.
The New England Patriots don't ever play the Dolphins very well. I think New England wins this game, but I don't think it's by as many as 7.
I'm taking the Patriots. I give the points. I don't know what that mess was out there Sunday night in Detroit.
It was 2 in a row is what it was.
The last time I seem to remember them opening up the season was it last year before last. Kansas City beat them like 45-7. And they wound up being like 13-3 or 14-2 that year. The next week they came and creamed somebody.
It could happen, but I expected that to happen this week.
Listen, the Dolphins, the Raiders should have beaten the Dolphins Sunday, and I don't know what happened in the second half. Patriots win this one Sunday and a bounce back big. Speaking of the Raiders, the Browns at the Raiders, heading out west. The Raiders are at -3. I'm guessing, I think it's official now. This is going to be Baker Mayfield's starting debut.
Boy, this is a tough one, man.
Listen, I was on the Raiders to start the year. I think there's still a ton of potential there. With that said, I'm taking the Browns because their defense is good. They've got a really good defense.
Defense travels, man.
Defense travels. I don't know what is going on in Oakland, but something.
It feels bad.
The wires are crossed somewhere. Something's not jihad.
Yeah.
So I'm going to the Browns to get above 500 this deep in the season for the first time in 92 years.
TanMan, we've been doing the show about a year and a half. How many times have you heard me say in the NFL that what really matters is the stuff that goes on behind the scenes in the front office, that is actually what you're watching on Sunday is just a dress rehearsal for what's the health of the organization, right? Mm-hmm. The Raiders are not a healthy organization right now. I'm going to go with the Browns.
I would like to know for real, when was the last time the Browns were above 500? I mean, it would have to be whatever that year with Derek Anderson was when they went 10-6.
Yeah, it was
06.
Yeah.
It's a long time ago. And finally, Sunday night, man, I always loved it. I don't like – I say I don't like – I'm okay with the Ravens, but I always love watching Ravens and Steelers.
Can I ask you, what is the hate towards Chris Collinsworth about?
I don't know. He's amazing.
He's great.
He's amazing.
People say his voice is annoying. Okay, your voice is annoying. If that's even true, like his insight is great, and people don't like that he talks about Tom Brady. But Tom Brady's the best quarterback to ever play football. Maybe you're not a football fan.
No, Collinsworth.
I don't know. I just don't get it.
Collinsworth and Al Michaels and Joe Buck and Troy Aikman are 1A and 1B.
Yeah.
He's fantastic.
Yeah.
Ravens at the Steelers, the Sunday night game.
Joe Theismann, too. He was great.
He was awful, man.
Joe Theismann was maybe the best announcer.
I wish I had a crack button.
Joe Theismann and John Riggins, that would be an awesome announcing pair right there.
Yeah.
Be better than the border war, as hard as that is to believe.
Somehow I doubt that.
I don't know if that's a compliment or not.
Steelers -3. They had a big first half and a blah second half down in Tampa.
They had a big enough first half. BG's 3-0 on the year in the fantasy league with the lowest point total out of 12 teams.
Congratulations. You won your pillow fight. I'm going with the Ravens in this one. The Ravens were my pick to win the division to start the year off. And they finally got some weapons on offense. They got the best defense in the league, according to you. So yeah, Ravens beat the Steelers and send them back into chaos.
The stats don't lie, man. The Steelers, there's some wonky stuff going on there too. Last night felt like they took advantage of a team. The wheels were coming off of the offense a little bit in the first half.
And still almost blew that.
The Ravens, number 1 defense in the league, number 2 offense in the league. I think they win this one outright.
Yeah. All right, so we're both taking the Ravens Sunday night. That's it for episode 65. Make sure you get your picks in too. Make sure you get them in. You can email them at carolinaborderwar@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter at the Border War. He is at BG_Border War. I am at TanMan3264. Help us grow the show. Like and share some Facebook posts. Share the link. Tell your friends to listen. Shout out to Stadium Scene TV for getting us out there. The numbers are growing, people. We are winning the war on crappy sports radio. Join in.
We had downloads every day last week. All 7 days people were listening, even after the stuff we talked about was over.